The only place to grab one of these official shirts is prowrestlingtees.com/616entertainment. There's a million of them, check them out. This video is also brought to you in part by the Patreon producers, without whom content like this would not be possible. It's that time once again. The snow is falling, the weather is cold, winter is here, and with that classic December feel comes the end of another year. 2021 was another interesting 12 months, wasn't it? For me, it absolutely flew by. Maybe it dragged for you. I don't know, you can tell me in the comments. But let's not beat around the bush, it's time to talk about Game of the Year. It's not my style to focus on just one title. No, I do a full top 10 list, as you know if you've been around here for a while. Feel free to check out my past top 10s, including my Game of the Year choices, in the description below. All the links are right there for you. What's up, Dan-Dans? My name is Ian. I hope you're all having a wonderful holiday season. Now, as I always state with my list videos, these picks are simply my opinion. If your favorite Game of the Year is not on my list, that's fine. Put it on your list in the comments below. Let's compare our lists. Let's talk about your favorite. Let's talk about my favorite. That always leads to a great conversation. There is no right or wrong answer for Game of the Year, whether it's IGN or the Game Awards, whether it's me, whether it's you. It's just a bunch of opinions. But no more delays, it's time to determine the official 616 Entertainment Game of the Year, with a fancy top 10 list, of course. Getting us started, I'm going to drop in Psychonauts 2. This one is a bit tough for me, as the concept of Psychonauts 2 sounds amazing. I couldn't wait to jump into this one. I was ready to be floored. And the level design did just that. The creativity in these settings knows no bounds, and I applaud the originality, which is delivered in spades. That said, the gameplay is constantly interrupted by cutscenes, many of which feel unnecessary, or tips explaining new mechanics which seemingly never stop introducing themselves. The moment-to-moment storytelling is nearly incoherent. At times, I felt like I was playing a video game representation of a 5-year-old kid explaining a week's worth of his dreams in one breath. That sounds cool, as I stated, but in playing it, it didn't really work for me. This is probably coming off like I'm tearing Psychonauts 2 apart, so let me correct the course a little bit. Parts of this game are very fun. The creativity is off the charts, and the heart of this one shines bright. There are plenty of positives here, but this wasn't the oh my god I was expecting. Still though, cracking the top 10 at all isn't too shabby. Feel free to check it out. Coming in at number 9, I've got to go with Retromania Wrestling. Now, full disclosure, I created the trophy list for this game, which I'm very proud of. And I also edit videos for Retrosoft Studios' YouTube channel, so if you want to throw my opinion out based on that, feel free. But I assure you, my thoughts and opinions are my own and completely uncompromised. Just had to throw that out there for the sake of transparency. Look, on one side of Retromania Wrestling's coin, you've got a breath of fresh air in a genre that has been dominated by simulation-based offerings for over a decade now. On the other side, you've got a nostalgic callback to the classic arcade wrestlers of the past. It's easy to pick this one up and play, which I value greatly. And hey, that trophy list isn't too shabby either, is it? Working a Bonesaw reference into a video game is one of my life's proudest accomplishments, without question. Returnal takes the 8th slot, and some of you may be shocked by this. I'm a big PlayStation guy, right? Obviously, Returnal should be number 1, or number 2, at least top 3. I enjoyed Returnal quite a bit. The vague and mysterious storyline is one part intriguing and one part absolutely maddening. The random nature of the procedurally generated levels, or biomes as they're called here, is a huge turnoff to some and a high point for others. The difficulty goes beyond a simple challenge, and the inability to save progress in this roguelike genre is a total deal breaker for a portion of the audience. It's worth noting that a save feature has now been added. When I was locked into Returnal, I'm telling you, I was locked in. Once you're in a groove with this one, the outside world shuts off. You're dodging projectiles like a prime Roy Jones Jr. You're timing your reloads with the hand-eye coordination of an A-level athlete. And you're dishing out punishment like Kratos slaying the Olympus Elite in God of War 3. When you're locked in, you're locked in. But when you're not, oh man, is Returnal rough. Look, it got the best of me. One day, in the middle of a great run, I was locked in, and then I got smashed like an egg in a room full of major league power hitters. I was so defeated that I closed the game, and I never looked back. The progression saving feature being added is enticing, I'll give it that, but man, my Returnal reflexes are greatly diminished at this point. You never want to see an old retired fighter come back for one more and get absolutely destroyed, and I feel like that'd be me. Returnal may be higher on my list if I was better at the game. How's that for brutal honesty? Lucky number 7 goes to Pumpkin Jack, a 3D platformer which puts the player into the shoes of, well, Pumpkin Jack. We're chasing down nasty bad guys and giving them what they deserve. We're traversing creepy locales and battling spooky bosses everywhere from haunted swamps to ghoulish forests. Pumpkin Jack is bursting at the seams with color, and I must say, this is the quintessential Halloween game. I'm serious. Of course you've got your Resident Evils and your Silent Hills and all of that, sure. Those are great for horror. But for Halloween vibes, Pumpkin Jack is undisputed. Did I mention this entire game was made by one person as well? That's out of control, Dan. Pumpkin Jack, pick it up. You won't be disappointed. Hobroxia II snags the number 6 spot on my list. Classic, arcade-style, 2D, twin-stick, space shooting action with a ton of upgrades available for your ship, a healthy diet of varied and creatively designed bosses, and a hell of a trophy list to boot. This one packs a difficulty punch in the early going, but once you start earning enough credits to really beef up your arsenal, man, your enemies better watch out. I did a full review of this one when it launched, and I've included the link in the description if you'd like to check it out. An easy inclusion on my top 10 list, no doubt about it. Diablo II Resurrected breaks us into the top 5. Diablo 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, and for years, I'd heard my OG Diablo friends tell me, no dude, you need to play Diablo 2. 2 is so much better. I never had any way to play Diablo 2 though, so when a remaster was announced, and it was made clear that consoles were fair game, I couldn't wait to finally sink my teeth into this legendary title that had eluded me for my entire life. Having now spent considerable time with this one, I can tell you, Diablo 2 is great. I don't like it as much as I like Diablo 3 personally, but really, how much sense does it make to compare the two? The issues I have with Diablo 2 mostly center around the fact that, yeah, this game is 20 years old. Even if it has a shiny new coat of paint, the systems in place do feel dated, as times have changed, which totally makes sense. But the core of what makes Diablo fun, exciting, and downright addictive is still here, and that's what's really important. With only about 12 hours put in so far in my Barbarian, I've barely even reached the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to do and see, and you bet your ass that's an adventure I can't wait to jump back into. Number 4 goes to Kana, Bridge of Spirits. I went into this game almost completely blind, having only sought out a minute or two of gameplay out of sheer curiosity. The Pixar-esque art style and undeniably gorgeous graphics that accompany said style definitely got my attention, but it was the very... how do I say this? It was the heavy PlayStation 2 vibes that really won me over. I feel like Kana, Bridge of Spirits is from a class of game, or a genre, as it were, that kinda went out of style for one reason or another. And it does my heart very good to see it alive and well here in 2021. The characters are cute, the enemy design is cool as hell, and in the same way that I bolstered Retromania Wrestling earlier, Kana is easy to pick up and just get going. When you get a controller in your hands with this one, you pretty much understand what each button is going to do right from the start, making Kana feel more like a homecoming than a franchise debut. A love letter to the days of the PlayStation 2, for sure. Subnautica Below Zero earns my number 3, and here's why. Being trapped on a planet that is 99% water, 0.75% ice, and 0.25% land is awesome. There are cute, cuddly alien life forms on the surface which resemble penguins and other wildlife that we're used to. Whereas down in the depths, the creatures are horrifying, deadly, and out for blood. Subnautica Below Zero introduces other humans and much, much more land traversal to the formula, which is a giant step from the original offering, where we were all alone and in the water practically 100% of the time. Not only are we encountering other humans, but an alien AI merges itself with our nervous system in the very early going, giving us something of a partner on the journey. Below Zero brings much of what made the original Subnautica fantastic in the first place, while sprinkling in new and exciting characteristics to keep it from feeling like a repeat. If you're afraid of the ocean, like I am, I'm telling you, you've gotta get your hands on these games. Or maybe I'm insane and you shouldn't do it. I don't know. What I do know is this: Subnautica Below Zero is in my top 3 for 2021. The runner-up spot for 2021 goes to Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. A number of these games on my list have been lauded for their graphical fidelity, but jeez-a-loo did Ratchet knock me on my ass. It really is insane to see just how far the technology has come since the original Ratchet was released. This feels like yesterday sometimes, right? But graphics are only one piece of the puzzle, and obviously Rift Apart plays nicely as well, or else it wouldn't be so high on my list. Is this a formula we've played a dozen times? Sure. But am I tired of it? No, sir. I loved collecting new weapons. I loved earning currency to upgrade said weapons to their fullest potential, and honestly, I appreciate a game that doesn't overstay its welcome. I finished Rift Apart in around 10 hours, and I went through and cleaned up the Platinum Trophy in right around 14 hours. Time well spent, in my eyes. And now, without further ado, the official 616 Entertainment 2021 Game of the Year goes to Resident Evil Village. I was intrigued by this one's new approach, as werewolves and vampires and the like are brand new to the land of Resident Evil, but I didn't buy Village day one. I didn't buy it until early November, as a matter of fact. I had a lot going on with the history of Halloween and all these other projects, and Resident Evil 8 kind of fell on the back burner. I'll get to it when I get to it, you know? Well, I finally got to it, and holy hell. I liked Resident Evil 7 quite a bit, but at times I felt underpowered and unprepared for the challenge in front of me. Here in Village, after finding my footing, I was wishing these monsters would. I was walking through tall grass, gun in hand, saying, "Come and see me, goofy ass." The new enemies are fresh and their design is fantastic. Lady D and her daughters were memed to death about being super sexy, and I'm not gonna lie, they are, and that was awesome. I actually predicted a scenario like this would occur before Lady D was even revealed. Here's a clip from the History of Resident Evil series. I get the idea. The boss of a survival horror game needs to be scary and intimidating. If Nemesis looked like Idris Elba, players would be like, "How you doing?" instead of running for their lives.
Pause for a second. I actually touched on this concept twice. So I guess the idea of a giant super hot boss is something that I've been subconsciously wanting for a long time.
Why can't I make my own tyrant? You think I wouldn't like a death machine that looks exactly like Brandy Rhodes following me around? You see what I mean? The 4 protectors of the village, each having their own unique levels with a main event caliber boss fight, was great. The Duke, our new merchant, was mysterious, and I really want him to return in the future. Resident Evil Village, in my mind, is a 2021 love letter to Resident Evil 4. And the gothic setting, for me, is 100% more interesting than RE7's Hillbilly Spook House. Sure, the story is ridiculous. It barely makes any sense. References to the past are shoehorned in at the last second in order to tie it to the original, and maybe this game is just about an hour too long for my taste, but those issues may as well be an ugly little garnish on a plate that's serving up a fat, juicy steak. Resident Evil Village earns the spot as my 2021 Game of the Year. There it is, Dan Dans. What do you think about my list? Shit, let me tell you what I think about your list. Leave it in the comments below, because I will be reading, as always. 2022 is going to be a great year for gaming. It's going to be a great year for this channel. I can already feel it. 2022 is the year where we finally earn that 100,000 subscriber plaque. I couldn't do any of this stuff without you guys, so as I always say, thank you very much. All of the support means the world to me, and I love you. Until next time, I will see you soon. I fucked up my outro phrase again, but I'm not going to redo it.